Okay, and let's promote the live stream. Oh, I thought I got a text message for a second. I was like, as soon as I go live, I'm gonna literally get a text message right now. Nope, it's just us going live.
Yep. I actually have that same reaction when I do it. I'm pretty grateful for it too, though, because it reminds me. Oh, is my phone off?
Oh yeah.
I need.
You go live and spring. Okay. Retweet that and retweet that. Oh boy.
Oh right, that game. I need to write that game down.
Let me look at my notes here from releases. I think I only have one game to talk about. That's not an RPG. That's not an RPG. I can talk about that. That's not really an RPG. And neither of those are RPGs. Well, Golf Story technically is an RPG, but I don't. I feel like it's more golf than RPG, no matter how hard they're pushing, like the quest and story aspect of that, which is much more than I was expecting them to. Hello to everyone watching live and watching in the chat.
Really?
Hello,
I'm
world.
sorry. I was just looking at the show notes. A game is coming out I didn't realize was coming out for us.
Which number in the list?
Fourth one down.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to look that up. Because when I saw that, I was like, are you sure? Are you sure it's coming out here? It's not a release we get.
Maybe it's just the European version that has like that has the subtitles on it, like they did with the Gundam Versus.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to put pre-show here in. Oh well. Japanese. Yeah, maybe that was a mislisting. Wars Cross US release.
Yeah, Best Buy doesn't have it listed.
Yeah.
I have, by the way, decided I like the Best Buy Game Club better than getting my games through Amazon, but
oh yeah,
it's more of a chore in a way because it's really like I can already see where it's going to bite me because on Amazon you can click show me all my open orders and you can easily see what you have pre-ordered.
right.
You can't do that on Best Buy.
Oh no.
They just show you whatever you've ordered. So like if you're like me and you're like, oh, I'm just going to pre-order this now a year in advance because it doesn't cost me anything.
Right.
You're going to have to go back through a year of transactions to find it.
That's surprising. That's weird.
Yeah, like they have a sort by relevance thing, but I've only been doing it I guess a little bit longer than whenever our last was it the last one or the one before? Whatever podcast we were
about a month.
Yeah. So I've only been doing it that long, so maybe there's still something to learn on it, but it's for the most part I like it. Like I seem to get all my reward points immediately for games on it.
Oh, nice.
You get like double reward points for it too. So like after I bought like Ni no Kuni 2, like I immediately got like my rewards in, and then went and bought a cheap TV for our kitchen.
Ooh, nice.
That's pretty heavily discounted. So, but for the most part, they have the same pricing as Amazon, and they the way I've been doing it is games that come out on Friday, I'm picking up because I'll beat the UPS guy home. And all the other games I'm just having shipped out day of, or receiving day of, however that works with them.
That sounds pretty positive. What did I see there the other day? Oh, it was the new World of Warcraft expansion. I'm like, well, it's $100 or it's $80 with Gamer Club Unlimited. And I was like, man, that's a good. That 20% really starts adding up.
Well, and Amazon still has their 20%. It's just only for pre-ordered games, and not for new games.
Well, and now it's for even less stuff than that. Like, it's sometimes not limited editions, but sometimes these big ones, but definitely not like the $200 ones. It's sort of a bummer. Hey there, Jay Vengeance. Thanks for joining us live.
Speaking of games that I won't talk about because it's an MMO and I don't feel like talking about it, I started playing Final Fantasy XI again.
Oh, nice.
And wow, that game has changed a lot.
Really?
Yeah, that was a game where I would say if you did not have friends to play with and large amounts of time, you might as well just not play at all.
Yeah.
They've now added it so that way you can have these NPC characters, like actual characters in the story that you meet and whatever, and they all have different jobs and they have different ways and styles that they like to play, and you can just invite up to a full party and play by yourself with a full party of roving NPCs that work pretty dang good with their AI.
Wow.
And yeah, and just blow through the content. Because that game's no longer getting updates. It's done.
Yeah.
They're just running it off of whatever it's got now.
The dedicated die-hard fans.
It's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a blast with it.
You still playing 14?
Since I'm paying for 14. I haven't played 14 because I've been super duper busy with everything else going on. 11 was just something that I was like, I don't want to see what it's about. Poke around in it. Maybe I'll. Yeah.
Hey there, Moonpear.
Hey, Moonpear.
Hey, Moon.
Alright, I think we have let everybody join here. You guys ready to kick this thing off?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Musum.
Hello.
And Mina.
Hi.
Let's just dive right into it. Musum, what have you been playing this past month?
Too much.
Okay.
This has been one of those, I'm going to play this game all day and then play an entirely different game the next day. So I'll skip over the phone games for myself at least. The Bard's Tale 4 Alpha came out. There's no NDA on it. Like, they encourage everyone to stream it and things like that. It's like I kickstarted that game. I'm a huge Bard's Tale series fan. I have a lot of confidence in Xyle to deliver a new one. So I gave them a lot of money.
I feel like they've proven themselves. We've talked about them a lot over the life of this show, and I feel like they've proven themselves time and time again. So they want to go make another Bard's Tale. Like, yeah, sure, take a bunch of my money.
Yeah, and I did give them less money than I did for my copy of Ni no Kuni 2, but
okay. if you're playing along at home,
if that frames anything. But
right.
Point being is I'm on a tier that gives me access to the alpha. So the alpha is a little 15-minute slice of the game. Classic Bard's Tale is just like a first-person dungeon crawler, like with, like Wizardry or something like that, where you have X amount of party members that you build, and they're probably going to die a bunch, and you're going to have to get grid paper out and make a map. So this, and Edge Ring Odyssey, I guess, would also be in that family of things. So this ditches all that off, and you're still a first-person dungeon crawler, but there's no grid. You're just walking around. And the puzzles in it are all these really cool, kind of weird little physics puzzles. So just to kind of walk you through real quick, beat by beat on the alpha, because I think that's the better way to explain it, is like you start out, you're in a dungeon, you have like 3 characters they gave you. You walk up to this door, and it has this little gear puzzle where one gear is turning, and you have like 3 or 4 gears that you have to move in sequence to it, and then it'll open the door. Once you head out there, there are a bunch of crazy-looking guys around a fire that I don't know, they're doing something to some dude in it. So you fight them a bunch with the combat system. The combat system is it's this weird kind of turn-based, grid-based. Like it's weird because like one, they don't leave the screen you're on, right? So you're still in that first-person perspective. But now they have 2 grid rows of 4 squares that your party members can be on, and 2
weird.
grid rows that the enemy can be on. All the abilities and spells you use affect different sections of those squares. So like the warrior fighter guy has a move where he'll hit everyone in the first row, for instance, of the enemies. And like the bard has an ability where she will shoot someone along this column, right? So it's pretty simple. I think I'm making it sound way more complicated than it is. It's just weird because I haven't seen a game do this before. And
yeah, especially not in first person, because we've played lately. I don't know if you have Musum, but Mina and I played South Park Fractured But Whole, which uses a very similar system, but that's an isometric almost.
Well, and
experience.
This one, like, you do move your characters around it, but they're just kind of character portraits.
Sure.
And they're really just there for, is the enemy going to attack here? You have X amount of kind of action points you can distribute through your team, and it seems like it could be interesting, but I'll have to see a lot more of it, I think, to really decide that on the combat.
Yeah. It sounds like they have a pretty cool system even in the alpha, though. Like they have the core idea seems pretty cool.
I think they got something solid to work with. I mean, the coolest thing, which is attracted a lot of attention in the articles, is they have kind of these procedurally generated puzzle weapons. Everyone's been comparing them to the Room games for phone.
Oh yeah.
I have not played those, so I can't vouch for that. But essentially, like after that combat, you get one of them, and basically it will generate like a blade, a hilt, a handle, and a guard kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those pieces will have a puzzle on it. If you solve the puzzle, then you will unlock like an extra ability for the weapon.
Oh, cool.
So like the first sword I got, I couldn't figure out how to make it work. The second time I played through, because the first time I played through it crashed.
That's an alpha.
Yeah. So the second time I did, like the guard had a piece that you moved up, and it basically had some little rhymey thing on it on go kill an orc kind of thing, or kill a goblin. And I did that, and nothing happened. So I'm not sure what that one's about. But the other one was like the very bottom. I think the hilt of the sword had a couple dials on it that when you lined it up, then now whenever I hit someone with it, it gives them -2 to their armor.
Oh wow.
So it's a pretty cool little thing. I hope it is. I don't know. I hope they really execute on it well, because I've only, like, both swords I got were fairly identical looking. They just had different puzzles on them. But it was probably restricted anyway for the alpha.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again 15 minutes of gameplay, and that might be generous. Like, my computer runs it like absolute garbage. Like, I am going to have to upgrade something on my computer or replace my computer before the game comes out.
Well, it might be more optimized by that point too.
That's true. It really didn't want to run it. Like, I had to take it down to like 720p, and
oh wow.
like I had to downsize a lot of the crap in it, but it's a very pretty game. just glanced at. Oh yeah, right. The Bard has a fun combat ability thing where the pre-generated Bard they gave me was a girl, and she, depending on what type of alcohol you drink, she can give herself different buffs in battle.
Okay.
which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The mage was pretty standard, and the fighter was fairly standard too. So they didn't really have access to any of the skill tree stuff, or if they did, I didn't really figure out how to poke in it. But again, the game was running like crap, so trying to traverse a menu when my mouse is like, move my mouse here, and it eventually is moving to catch up with me. Like, I just didn't want to deal with that. So the music for the game is freaking phenomenal. Like, imagine the chick singing in the tavern in Dragon Age Inquisition, and then imagine that like magnified into more of a Scottish Irish kind of thing, and then imagine that as the soundtrack to an entire game.
I like that.
It's pretty cool. It's, if nothing else, the soundtrack will be amazing. So let's see. I played a little bit of Earthbound. Mina, I think you still already know where I am.
It's okay.
Because like a bunch of other stuff came out. I made it to Tucson. I ran into two kids who said they would invent stuff. One of them was Apple, and one of them was
Orange.
I don't know. Yeah, and I gave them both money. And one of them gave me something that immediately broke. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, that was the orange kid that gave you that.
Yeah. And I can't. It seemed like the Apple kid gave me something too, and I don't remember at this point.
He gave you. He probably gave you a phone, a receiver phone, or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he will give you another thing soon.
Okay. I got into a fight with some mushrooms, and afterwards, one of them attached themselves to my head.
Yeah. So, how did that go?
Well, the really weird part is I know it was supposed to mess with my directions, but on the initial screen I got it on, it wasn't doing that for some reason, and then I got to the next screen and it did.
So it doesn't start right away. The little mushroom on your head, it always gives you a little bit of time before it sets in, and then like it starts like messing with your controls. And once you start going like, okay, so if I remember that up is right, and you start like kind of thinking, okay, I got it now, it'll change on you, and it'll keep on changing on you. How did you particularly get rid of it, out of curiosity?
I found a man at the hospital who wanted to buy it.
That's the best way to handle it.
That was it. The real pain in the butt part, and I might be wrong on this, but it seemed like I had to walk through the entire town to get to the hospital, like I was on the opposite end or something.
Yeah.
So that was a little frustrating, but
there's ways of getting rid of it outside of that, but that way gives you, money. So if you're strapped for cash, getting infected with mushrooms is not a bad way to handle that.
Good to know. Well, so far this game has given me a lot of money. Like, Dad is just, I wish my dad gave me that kind of allowance. Here, you should have $2,000 in your bank account. Thanks, Dad.
I think what's confusing probably for all of us is that I think in the Japanese version that's all yen. So if you move the decimal place over a couple,
he gave you like $20. It's like, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
That'd make more sense.
$2,000 seems amazing, but then like in yen it was like, oh, that's only $20.
Yeah.
That's also crazy though, because the hotels are letting you stay for like 50 cents then, right?
Yeah. Pretty much.
I'm still really enjoying that game. I just haven't gotten back to it. Like for a little bit I was playing that, and then I started a new game on the SNES version of Chrono Trigger. Because it's just been a long time since I played Chrono Trigger. And I was kind of going back and forth between those. Chrono Trigger is still a fantastic game. I love that game.
Oh yeah.
And I haven't started a fresh game for that in a while, so Because I guarantee you that like the last 4 or 5 times I played it was just, oh, I'll just go on my last save and have my overpowered team wipe through everything.
Right. I'll go fight Lavos.
Just have to figure out when I want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been cool going back through it and having a challenge there again. But I got to the part where I'm pretty sure it told me what to do, and I need to look it up because I've forgotten. Like, I just got back from the future. I went to the end of time, you know, where they're like, yeah, no, you can only have a party of 3.
You learn magic and everything.
Yeah. And now I'm trying to remember where to go. And I thought I was supposed to go to 65 million BC, but that is wrong, because I've gone everywhere that I can there, and Ayla, or Aya, whatever her name is, hasn't shown up. So
that's the part that always gets me, because I always get in the same position too, because they tell you where to go, and I'm like, yeah, cool, I just got magic, let's keep going. And I'm like, oh, no, where was I supposed to go?
It was also weird fighting that magic guy, and I'm like, I thought he was supposed to be easier the first time.
Yeah, no, that boss fight is hard. I think the same thing too, and I'm like, oh, this will be easy. Oh yeah, he transforms, crap.
Yeah, that was hard. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a lot more to say about Chrono Trigger, but it was
it's still really good.
Yeah, it's been real nice. It's that original SNES version is good. Oh, right. Okay, so I now also have a clear idea of what I would want if they ever remade Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
I only want them to graphically remake Chrono Trigger. Right. And I want the BlazBlue guys to work with the Dragon Ball Z artist guy.
Oh, hello.
And just make the entire game like those anime cutscenes that they made for the DS.
Boy, that'd be alright. And then just like reorchestrate the soundtrack and you're good.
Yeah. I mean, they've already done the reorchestration, haven't they? Isn't that a...
I don't know if they've done all the tracks, but, you know, probably between like 30 different releases, they probably only have like 3 or 4 tracks left to go, so...
Yeah.
Whip those out real quick.
But that's all I need. They don't need to mess with anything else. Maybe make that drinking contest and the Millennial Fair a little easier.
Yes. I always skip it because you don't need it for the trial. It's like the only thing you don't need to do for the trial. And it's too hard.
It's my thumb dies every single time. And
well, just wait until you have to do it in 65 million BC.
Oh man, I forgot about that part too.
I'm reminded of the Chrono Cross minigame with the dragons, where you have to feed the dragons by going back and forth.
That's right.
I remember the first time I did that, someone was like, "You can't possibly succeed without the thing that you get later on," and I still did it, but my fingers hurt really bad from doing that. You have to spam like crazy.
You don't get to tell me no. Tap,
like,
tap, 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 tap.
Now I'm gonna have to do it.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So also while I was playing those games, like literally I was playing one. And then a couple hours later, I'd switch to the next, and then I'd go to Yakuza 0.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
So I've been playing this again, and then I stopped when Ni no Kuni 2 came out. But like I got to the part where I'm now managing property, and this is I think going to be the aspect of the game that really hooks me, because it's I love the idea of, oh, these characters I helped out on a side quest. I'm now going to employ them into this property management sim thing.
And, like, take over the town that you've been exploring for the last 10 hours.
And these 5 billionaire jerks, I'm ready to take them out.
Yep. Each one of those turns out really, really well. I went really deep on that, because I went deeper on that one than the one for Majima, even though his is better. I just liked getting all the money, like investing all that money and then getting great returns, and then going and finding the buildings to go buy and buy them, and then start that cycle all over again. Yeah.
It is a really good gameplay loop to it, you know? And like one of the first people's storylines I finished was the cops. So
yeah,
I immediately have like a real good patrol guy to send on them too. So
have you befriended the woman who works at the bowling alley?
I don't even think I've been to the bowling alley.
Okay, you can befriend her, and at the very end, like one of the last things to do is you need to get a turkey in the bowling minigame, and after that, she will give you a new person to work in your property, and if you haven't gotten it spoiled, I won't tell you who it is. It's well worth it, just for the reveal of who will be helping you.
Well, maybe I'll just seek that out next. Yeah. Well, I say that I'm in Majima's section right now.
Yeah.
Like, in Majima, I think you had told me previously I'm getting close to whatever his sim's going to be. I assume you weren't referring to the weird weapon seek and upgrade system.
No, I totally forgot about that because I didn't really do that. It didn't really seem to do anything. Like, you don't really use any weapons, so I don't. Maybe you do on harder difficulties, but I don't know. Yeah, his stuff is I don't know if you got introduced to some of the cabaret stuff yet. His is related to that.
Okay, I assume that's about to happen because they hit the. Let me see. I'll try and talk around a little bit. They hit the story beat where, like, his original loyalties with the Yakuza, he's kind of questioning where he's going with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're at about the halfway point of the game.
Well, and I'm only on chapter like 6 or 7 or something like that. So, and I don't know. I might be getting close to it. It's a lot of it is crazy to me because so much of the game is I'm going to play for an hour or two and then I'm going to watch this 20 minutes of cutscenes.
Yeah, and it's like in most games it'd be like, oh god, here comes another cutscene, and for Yakuza 0 it's like, yeah, and more story. Awesome.
It's kind of like soap opera-esque in a good way.
Like that's how I described it too. Is it's like it's like a really interesting soap opera drama.
Yeah.
I just looked up. There are 16 chapters, but a lot of the ending ones are very much like you're gonna play for an hour, you're gonna get an hour of cutscene, you can play for an hour, and sort of vice rinse and repeat.
Gotcha.
And then once you finish, they just unlock the whole world for you, and you can switch characters whenever you want.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds appealing. It's I don't know, I gotta get back to that game again, but at the same time I have to finish Ni no Kuni 2, which is what I'm talking about next.
I know all three of us have been playing it. How far are? Let's start with you, Musum. How far are you?
I'm still in chapter 4.
Okay. How far are you?
I'm ahead of him by probably. I don't know what the name of the chapter. I'm ahead of him. We'll leave it at that.
Have you finished it yet?
No. I am at what I guess would be the... How would I even phrase it?
Have you cleared your second kingdom? Because it's basically like, you go to a kingdom, someone says, hey, we have this trouble, and then we'll sign your declaration, and then you solve it.
Okay. So I took care of the first one. I'm at the second one, and I'm there. Yeah.
So I platinumed it.
Yeah.
Which means I did 100% of it. To be fair, it's
clearly
it's not super long, and my daughter really loved watching it, and it's like the only clean game I've played lately. So it took me about 30 hours to finish the storyline, and that was even with me diving pretty deep into the kingdom building stuff. And then probably another 30 hours to do 100% of the stuff. So, wasn't that bad. But I'll let you guys talk about it first. I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, and I haven't gone to whatever the next kingdom thing's going to be. Mm-hmm. Like, I keep trying to figure out who else I can recruit, but at the same time, the main storyline seems to be kind of based around that anyway. Like, it just had me recruit the next 2 people for the... I always want to be like everyone and call it the RTS system, but it's not really RTS because you're not. I don't, but the army thing, right?
Yeah, skirmishes.
It plays like is it called Little King Story?
Yeah, yeah, Little King Story. Yeah,
I think it's what it's called. It plays exactly like that. This is kind of I wouldn't call it a dumbed down version because I feel like it's not, but it's kind of like it's got way less mechanics to it than Little King Story's version of this thing, whatever it's called. Because
yeah,
like you said, it's not RTS to me. It's
sort
that.
of.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish that the skirmishes did was teach me a lot earlier that you can move your party very quickly with the X button, at least on PS4.
Oh yeah.
You can run away. I wish I had known that when I was fighting things that pop out of the ground.
The X makes you move faster. The triangle button's the one thing that you can use once a time that like completely boosts all stats. Like
yeah, it's when your little
crazy.
bar fills, the circle bar.
And then
square, I think, calls the units back.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what circle does. They all do something specific, but I know that X makes them move fast though, because I accidentally pressed that because I have a habit of hitting buttons.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, they move faster. I'm gonna spam
Skirmishes
that.
was pretty cool. That was my last trophy to get because they want you to do 50 individual skirmishes, which sort of sucks. And there are exactly 50 of them in the game.
Oh no.
Yeah. Only one of them was really hard because it was very much a sprint to catch someone, which is the opposite of sort of what you want to do with that system. But I really like Ni no Kuni 2. I have seen the game get some criticism on, I would say, two fronts. One is that the storyline is sort of simple, but I kind of dig that because it's so nice. Like everybody everybody wins. Like even, in that first kingdom you go to, even the bad guy gets redemption and he wins too. Like, and so does King Evan and Roland. Like, it's just so nice that I feel like you sort of have to have a real dark black heart to be like, meh, this game, it's too sweet. Bleh.
I think it gets way too much criticism for it not being exactly Ni no Kuni 1.
Right.
And I don't like that. I think that it's very good and it stands up on its own and it's a different game and you shouldn't try and hold it to the first one's standards because the first one had some problems and this one has its own different problems, but I like
it's so
them both.
crazy because so many people were like, I hated Ni no Kuni 1. I'm excited for the second one. And they're like, this isn't Ni no Kuni. It's just like, well, you hated the first. What's going on here?
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
I definitely agree. Like the story in 1 was a lot darker in ways.
Yeah.
And like in a way, this one almost feels less Studio Ghibli like, but at the same time, it's so. Like, everything in it is so accessible, and, like, the ridiculous amount of systems that they have in it are all really simple, like, at the end of the day.
Even
and
the kingdom building stuff is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and it all, I think, flows really well into each other.
Yeah. In
terms of, like, okay, this guy wants me to go kill some of these things outside of town, so I'm going to go out there and beat them up in this... I mean, the combat is... I feel like Jake on my podcast has broken me. Like the combat is Dark Souls-like, right? Like a really easy version of it.
Well, I called it
Tales.
Yeah, I called it on TVGP. I called it like the light version of the Tales series, where it's sort of like, because that's been my recommendation for Ni no Kuni 2 so far is, especially if you're like if you have a kid or someone that wants to start getting into RPGs, this is a really good start because it's not something like, we've recommended Costume Quest a lot, but there isn't a lot to that game. It's pretty short. Ni no Kuni is a big game with a ton of systems. There's like 175 side quests. There's that whole kingdom building stuff. Like it has a solid story and it has solid mechanics. And I feel like if you like Ni no Kuni 2 and you want more of that, I feel like the next level you go to is the Tales series, because it has a very similar battle system. It has that, you know, whatever they're calling the limbs system now, whatever it stands for. You know, and it feels like you have sort of a next level to that, and that's kind of why I like Ni no Kuni, is because the battle system is pretty simple and the game is too easy.
It is too easy.
It's not a bad thing. I beat the final boss, no spoilers. The final boss is level 72 and I beat it at like 55. So like without really breaking a sweat. So it is too easy, but that's not a bad thing.
If the ride is fun, that's fine for me.
So question on the Tales thing, because I haven't played a Tales game probably since Symphonia. Okay. And what I remember of the combat is it would load the screen, bad guys would be on the right, you'd be on the left, you'd charge, mash some buttons, combat would be over within like 10 seconds.
It stopped being that way.
Okay.
Like right after Symphonia, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's very much the same as Ni no Kuni, where it's an open field, and you're playing that almost hack and slashy kind of strategic battle system.
Historia is the first one where the exact enemy on the fields are just like, it becomes like, you see like the field ring appear, kind of like the way Ni no Kuni does, where the field ring's like, okay, this is the field ring, you play here. And I would say that very strongly that Ni no Kuni 2 feels like a stripped down version of the Tales of battle system, the current one that we've had.
Yeah. In definitely a good way, like it's...
In a good way, yes.
Yeah.
No, this is...
And I feel like a big benefit of the Ni no Kuni battle system is the ranged attacks. And they feel very, very strong, where in a lot of RPGs I feel like they would be a thing to maybe just stun lock the enemy for a minute, but they are a viable way of attacking a lot of enemies in the game.
I always forget you can charge that, honestly. Like,
oh, yeah.
I can't remember what I was doing. I was fighting one of those special extra hard purple energy monster things.
Oh,
yeah, and this one was just like flying around, and it was barely damaging us. I was like, oh, come on. And then I accidentally charged the gun. I'm like, oh, this is what I need to be doing the whole time.
You know, speaking of that, there is the one system, the Zing system, that I wish they would have explained more. So it's basically, you know, when you look at your 3 weapons that are on the right-hand side, and they have like that percentage value, what they don't tell you clearly enough, or they don't tell you until later, is when that weapon hits 100% and you've got a weapon that has 100% Zing equipped, if you do a special attack, it will knock the enemy down.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's hugely important for later tainted monster fights, because if you have pretty good weapons and you're attacking fast enough, you can kind of keep a monster knocked down for a good long time. I wish they were a little bit clearer about that.
Yeah, I thought that was just... I had this one special attack that seemed to be... that I guess my brain had just associated, okay, this is my special attack that knocks him down, and the others don't. And I guess that's why that was happening. I didn't even pick up on that.
So I've got 2 bones to pick with this game.
Okay.
Two very big bones. First one, I really hate how little voice acting there is in this game.
Yes.
Like, it's inexcusable to me.
It's shocking how little there is. Like, and the voice acting that's there is all really good. There's just like 10%, genuinely 10% of the game is voice acted, and it's crazy.
I understand that there are times where you don't need to put voice acting, but I feel like whenever there's like pretty good conversations between the characters, like I feel like when it's going into this cutscene moment, like there's a cutscene moment, and I'm like, okay, we're totally about to get some voice acting.
There's 6 people standing around talking. All right, voice acting.
And they'll just make grunt sounds or just like say one word, or you'll get a out of
core, blimey.
And it's like, come on, guys. And so this is a part of the reason why the game's taken me so long to play is because I'm doing a stream of it, and I've always made it a thing where I have to voice the characters whenever I'm
as soon as
playing
someone
them.
new joins your party, you're just like, oh no.
Oh no, they're all gonna have to start. I'm gonna have to do all these voices. So it genuinely. I was playing with someone else, and they eclipsed me in like, where I was in the game, even though we had played like the same amount of hours or something like that, and they had just they jumped chapters ahead of me because I have to say every little line. And the second thing I gotta pick with that really bugs me, and this is like, I don't understand why this is, but there are little tiny text boxes that appear at the bottom of the screen, and they appear during combat, they appear for the skirmishes, they appear whenever your characters enter town, and they're just having like a conversation with each other, like back and forth, little stuff. Like, they will have like 4, 5 sentences there, and it'll be up there for like 7 seconds, and then it's just gone, and they're on to the next one. And
it's insane.
I can barely read it, like with my own eyes, just reading it to myself, in my head, but trying to say it out loud, I might get the first sentence down and it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I don't know, it's gone.
So like, where I play this game is a good like 10 feet away from my TV.
Oh, is it too tiny to read?
I have an incredibly difficult time to read it, and I don't know that I've finished reading a single one of these.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
And some of them actually have like little lore bits about the place, and some of them are actually like, I wanted to read it. I was like, oh, tell me more about your. Oh, it's gone.
Tell me more about the water. No, never mind.
Well, and a lot of them, even during the skirmishes, like there's. The majority of the time they pop up during the skirmishes. There's no reason that couldn't just be a prompt that you could click on to make.
It's just gone.
Because it's important. Where it's like, oh my god, they're running over here to the southwest, and it's like, cool. And all you get through is they're running over. Okay, it's gone.
and I don't know. That's something that's bizarre to me, that somebody didn't just like observe that when they were playing and being like, I think that's scrolling a little too fast.
Yeah.
I
missed half the game.
So those two things, they irritate me a lot.
Yep.
Probably more so than they should, because I guess the thing is I like so much about this game that those two things just really irk me.
Well, I think when you look at everything else, like it's outstandingly beautiful. Like the graphics are incredible. The soundtrack is great. The sound effects are great. Like a lot of the weapons you're picking up all get carried around by your character, and they all look different. Like everything is really good. And then there's no voice acting. Like it's like, this game is like 95% of the way there, and then the voice acting is missing. It just seems like they poured so much money and heart and soul into this game, and then just forgot this part.
It feels very strange to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because how little of the voice acting there is that just like sticks out like a real sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So it bugs me, because I think if it had like, I think Persona balances that line of like real voices to just the dialogue prompts.
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's a cutscene happening, characters are talking, and then like you're back into the running around talking to NPCs, and there's no voice acting. Contrast this to like World of Final Fantasy, where every NPC is voiced, and every little dialogue that appears, no matter where it is, it's voiced.
Yep.
In a mind-blowing amount of work there, but I don't know. So those are the only two things that I really had to say. When you said this game was beautiful, that was the first thing I noticed. I'm not a person who like talks about seeing how many frames a game has. I don't really care if it's anywhere between 20 and 30. It's like, whatever, I can deal with it. It's fine.
Yeah, it works. It's all right.
It's feet. As long as it keeps a steady frame amount, like it's not going to like jump all over the place and bug me, that's fine. If it's stable. This game, I was blown away how pretty it was. And I even just kind of spun when I was on the overworld, I just spun the map around and I was like, this is a gorgeous game and it's running so lovely.
And like the little chibi versions of the characters in the overworld are really cute. And then the game looks so good in both art styles that it's sort of crazy. I guess 3 art styles because it looks different in the battle system too.
Yep. And the biggest reason why I noticed that was because I also got Final Fantasy 15, and both games I had like the graphics cranked up and my computer just could not handle 15. Wow. So I had to drop 15 down, and I didn't really have to drop, you know, Kuni down. And just the comparison of like, this game's really pretty, but this game, this game's pretty and it's operating at like 60 frames, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what engine this was made on. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mason. I
keep forgetting it came out for PC because I picked it up for PS4, and I don't know if I would have picked it up for PC had I consciously realized that, because as I said, my PC was choking on that Bard's Tale Alpha.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that really impressed me, like I guess graphically and just design wise, is like the first big city you get to, the gambling city. Like I remember getting into it and thinking, okay, this is the main screen of it, and where I'm just going to go over to this other area, and that's going to be the extent of this town. And no, the place is huge, and like all of the NPCs in it that don't necessarily matter, that are just there to provide atmosphere, like all look. I mean, there are some repeats, but for the most part, they all seem like they're different. Mm-hmm. Like you feel like you were seeing this. I don't want to use the phrase lived in, like I do, but I don't. Like, because it feels like an actual city with people living in it, but it isn't lived in, whereas people will describe Metro 2033 as lived in, because everything is trashy and living together, and you can find the bathroom. Like, that doesn't apply here, obviously, but...
And Goldpaw has the dubious quality of every character in the town and every character of the dog race, their name is a pun. I don't know if you guys have noticed that yet, but
I did catch it.
Yeah.
I think the one that I really liked was the one that was Fido or something like that.
My favorite one is Minty.
Oh yeah, Minty!
Minty, I think I used Minty in my skirmish till about the end of the game.
Yeah, Minty.
I
forgot about that.
I just got Minty, because he or she, I don't remember who's who.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's the warrior that you pick up as your 4th unit, right? In the quest for the library.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So, man. Yeah, that library quest struck me as very like Miyazaki.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is there's no Ghibli involvement really for this.
Yeah. No, there's like one designer that works for Ghibli that worked for this, but it's still very much takes... It
looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, like it has very much the same DNA as the first one did. You know, even, it's not a spoiler, you start out in Ding Dong Dell, which was one of the main cities from the first game, and it's kind of fun being in that city again at the beginning and being like, wow, this looks so much better. Oh man.
They did get the same soundtrack guy though.
They did. Joe Hisashi, I think his last name
is.
Who I didn't even realize works for Ghibli. Like
yeah, I think he did all the soundtracks to the majority of Miyazaki's films.
Yeah, I think so. I want to put out some recommendations here for anyone that is going to go for the platinum. I would really recommend it because it requires you to do 100% of the game, and I think the vast majority of that stuff is really good. Number one is there's a trophy for amassing 500,000 guilders at once. You'll do that by the end of the game. You just can't buy anything, which is fine because the game just dumps equipment on you throughout the entire thing. The other thing is if you look at any guides, they'll basically say like, hey, the Final Dreamer's door has Have you guys done the Dreamer's Door stuff yet?
I did the first one that the game.
Okay.
I did the first one, and I found the second one, but I was really worried the difficulty would spike up, so I haven't tried the second one yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, the difficulties aren't too bad. If you die in there, it just boots you out, and you don't lose anything. So you can... That's one thing I really liked about this game, is like, when you go to fight the tainted monsters, if you lose, the game says load your last save, but what they really mean is, we're just going to boot you, back out to when you were standing right next to the monster, and you don't lose anything. I thought that was really great. A lot of guides will tell you the final boss of the last Dreamer's Door is level 95, and you should be like 95 or 96, and you just need to grind the final boss for 6 hours to do. You don't need to do any of that. I beat it at like level 72, and it was super easy. If you level up your kingdom enough, you can make such incredible weapons and armor that you blow through that final Dreamer's Door pretty quickly. So, and you should do the kingdom stuff because it's all really great.
That's the stuff I'm definitely most interested in. Like, it has almost the same feedback loop as Yakuza 0.
Yeah, exactly.
Go do this quest, help this person out, and they're going to join your kingdom. And I know I need to be moving my guys around between buildings and things, but I really just like leaving the people at whatever their specialty is at that place.
So I actually recommend if they... So one of the things I liked about the kingdom stuff is I really liked how clear it was where it says this person is best suited for this building. If you look at the building and say, well, these people are suitable for this building, it has the little star next to them. Mm-hmm. I'd actually recommend, there are 100 people in the game that you can recruit. If you find someone that's suitable for a building, just leave them there. Because your kingdom sort of expands as the number of people you get expands. So you don't really need to move people around. You're going to find enough people to fill those slots as time goes on. As I started that and I was like micromanaging too much, and it's like, this is... I'm losing track of who lives where, and these people are just going to stay where they're at. Unless, like, the only time that's different is when you build a building and you research everything there, and you unlock another building that has like the next set of research. I take all those people and move them to the next one once I've researched. But that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I've been trying to minimize it. Did you guys mess with the higgledy stuff much?
So you could totally ignore the higgledies if you wanted to.
I used the same 4 I got at the beginning throughout 100% of the game I played.
I've switched mine up a little bit. There's like there's different elements. There's one that I got that's a fire elemental, but operates kind of like the first higgledy that you got, the one with the cannon.
Yeah, the white one.
Yeah, except I got a fire element one of that one, and I like him a lot. I don't know why I like him a lot, but I do. Maybe it's because I like feeding him his favorite food is like maybe something really easy to feed or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. So
I haven't even messed with feeding him.
Yeah, you can do it the higgledy place in your kingdom to level them up, but the only thing I would really recommend that I did too late is I would find a healer in each of the 4 slots and level them up as high as you can, and at that point you kind of become unstoppable, not in a bad way, but they do such a good job of healing your party members for you that as long as they don't all get knocked out of the battlefield, which is pretty hard to do, you're going to be pretty good. And it stops you from having to do the micromanaging of like, all right, well, I only have 3 Soraways in this battle, so I need to make sure I save them. You know, they do all that stuff for you.
Yeah, I've been like, it really bothers me when I find a higgledy stone and I don't have whatever I need to recruit them.
Yeah.
Because I know I am just not going to remember where it is later.
Yep. I had to look up a list because I needed, I think there were like 35 or something, and by the end of the game I had like 7. And I was like, okay, well, I need to look up a list because I don't remember where any of them were.
Yeah.
I'll just try and remember where some of them are, and if I get to platinuming this game or whatever, I'll just pull open a guide and be like, all right, let's go do these.
The only thing I wish some guide writers were better about is, like, a lot of them were good saying, like, there are 3 in this area, and then very quickly be like, it's in this area, and feed them this. It's just like, no, I don't want to know. Like, I want to go solve the riddle myself. I have all the items. I just want to figure out which one is which. Grrr.
So there's a certain character in a what do they call it? The Higgledy. It's a location in the world that you go where it's like a forest of Higgledies.
Oh.
Yeah.
I need a minor spoiler. I'm talking around it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does he join your kingdom?
No, sadly. Well, thankfully, probably because he's super creepy. But you can trade your pebbles to. You can trade your pebbles to him for permanent stat upgrade candies.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Okay. I traded pebbles a couple times with him, and then I guess that would have been my next question too. Is he the only person to trade pebbles to? Is this a currency for someone else?
No, he's the only one that does anything. Those are one of the bigger pieces of advice I can give you for the game is don't sell anything. I think you can keep up to like 450 items of each type, including like weapons and armor and everything. You'll need all the items you pick up for either like the Swift solutions, you know, for some of those quests, or just some recruitment quests. But yeah, he's the only one that takes pebbles. Otherwise, they're useless.
There's so much stuff in this game.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's
Ni no
crazy
Kuni 2
to me.
is great.
It's crazy to me that they stuffed this many systems in a game and made it work. Like, I think that's its biggest claim to fame for me, is have 6 or 7 completely different systems. Or
Oh,
systems
now you're
that
playing an
are
RTS. It's like, wait, what?
It kind of reminds me of Rune Factory 4. That game had like, I swear it had like 40 different systems. And the game just it kept adding another tutorial. I was in there for like 60 hours, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna teach you about this other thing you can do. You can now grow weapon trees and
Oh,
build
God.
deeper dungeons. I'm like, what?
Oh man.
I was playing a farming game, and then it was a battle game, and now it's a growing dungeon game, and now I am, that game.
Yeah.
Oh, and now we're going to teach you how to use a marketplace, and now you're going to sell your goods on a marketplace. Here, we're a marketing game now. I was like,
You know, I think that I love Ni no Kuni 2, and I think, unlike the first one, I can wholeheartedly recommend this. You know, I think we all have the problems with voice acting and text moving too fast and some of this stuff, but compared to some of the larger problems of the first one, I feel like they resolved all of that stuff in the second one, and I can, if you like RPGs, or you maybe want to try an RPG that's, you know, doesn't have a super serious story, and it isn't, you know, a tough as nails battle system or anything like that, and you just sort of want to play a good game, I wholeheartedly recommend Ni no Kuni 2.
And you know, the game has 2 protagonists. So if you're an adult, you can play the adult, and if you're a kid, you can play the kid.
Yeah, I played as Roland the whole game because Roland is pretty cool. He's got one of my favorite parts in the game is like when you start off at the beginning and they teach you about the whatever that ring is that you stick all your weapons into.
Yeah.
And Roland sheepishly is like, "Yeah, but I have this gun." And the lady was like, "Yeah, that's not a problem. Just put it in the ring, dude. Whatever. It gives you ammo." And I was like, ha,
He's
awesome.
like, what?
I thought they'd be like, "What is this fire stick?" And they were like, "No, man, it's a gun. Whatever, we got those. Just put it in the stupid ring." So good. Go play Ni no Kuni 2. It's really great.
It's good.
That's a pretty good game. So that's all I've been playing. So, Mina, what you got?
Alright, so I already brought up Ni no Kuni 2, and I've also been playing Final Fantasy 15, but not that much. I'm just going through it, and the game looks gorgeous on PC, as it should.
So, I do have one question for you.
Oh, okay.
I tried to play this on PS4 again, is I figured, well, now that we're in the DLC lull for about a year, is the frame rate pretty solid? Because I can't play it on PS4 without giving me a headache because the frame rate's all over the place.
The frame rate is pretty dang solid on the.
Okay.
I have a theory. It's unsubstantiated, so don't.
Mina's
don't
theory
take this,
corner.
This is my theory. They have done a really bad job with all the other ports that have released lately because everybody who was like supposed to be making ports was on
Right.
15
All the
staff.
top staff.
Like they were like, who's the best one at porting stuff? Okay, you're all on this team.
Yeah.
The rest of you are schlepped over there to go do the
Yeah.
other ports.
Ever since
So-
Nier Automata's port was not 100%.
So you know what's crazy is like this is I'm sorry to talk over your time real quick on Xenogears Chronicles 2. It's not Xeno. What the heck is that game called? Xenoblade.
Oh, boy.
There we go. I was like, boy, that doesn't sound right, but I know what the title is. Whew.
I was reading an interview with one of the staff heads over at Monolith. He's like, yeah, well, we were making this game like we were actually also making Xenoblade Chronicles X, and then like 40% of the staff was working on Final Fantasy 15,
Oh, wow.
and like all our UI people quit.
Oh, that's
Oh,
tough.
man.
I'm sorry, that was just a.
No, it looks gorgeous. It plays really well. I think the only thing that made me notice something was that my computer just isn't strong enough for the maximum amount of settings.
Sure, right.
So
What
I
video
had
card
to.
do you have?
Which one?
What video card do you have?
You
You remember off the top of your head?
Nope, because
Okay.
I actually, whatever one I used to have, I swapped out a different one in, so now I don't remember. I'm definitely not working with like a Titan or anything like that, or
Right. I'll have
or
to
the
check
one with all
the
the bitcoins.
I'll have to
whichever one
run
that
the
They've got a benchmark.
yeah, I'll have to run the benchmark on my PC and see how it runs because I have like a 1060 in my machine. And I hope that would do all right.
I'll be honest. The difference between like the max settings to like the settings that I went to, I guess I forget what it's like, high and highest or something like that. Whatever one was the step down that lowered everything by, whatever notches. I can't tell the difference.
Oh, okay.
I can't.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're running like a supercomputer, maybe you realize it, but
Right.
for me, I was just like, yeah, both looks good.
Yeah, it still
Got
looks
it.
really great.
This one's the one that runs. The other one doesn't.
Yeah.
So I'm going with this one.
Okay, I'll check out that version. Thanks.
Yeah, it looks really good. I had no idea that all of these DLCs were just like there with the game.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea. And then I did a little bit of the online stuff or whatever it is, the multiplayer stuff, whatever
Yeah.
that is. That's interesting. I guess I would be more into that if I played with other people or something. It looked okay. I have no bad feelings towards it. Yeah, I didn't play too much of it because Ni no Kuni 2 came out, and then I was like, well, whatever this is, no care
Move aside,
anymore.
everybody.
Ni no Kuni 2 is the next hotness. But before Ni no Kuni 2 came out, I did play some Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. Did I say
yeah.
that right? Woo! I originally was planning on streaming this game, and so my capture card on my 3DS doesn't work
Oh, bummer.
very well anymore. Well, it works and doesn't work. So it'll work for like a few seconds, and then it'll just be like, nope, not gonna work. Then you can't stream with that. That's not.
And you
that's
can't
not
replace it either, so it's sort of like,
Yeah,
well, this thing's
nope.
dead.
It's dead. So I guess I'm going to be glad that the 3DS has to be on its way out now, and
Yeah.
so woo, and hopefully Nintendo will know that maybe they should just keep an output for people, because we will sell your game for you with free advertising if you just, build this in with your thing.
Yeah.
Please. The end. So I started, I'm just going to call it Radiant Historia. I started Radiant Historia. The game asked me, like, what difficulty to play on, and originally I was going to play on the hardest difficulty, but then I did a little bit of research, and someone said, putting it on the hardest difficulty just ensures that you get less XP and less money, thus making your grind, like, way, way, way harder.
Oh,
and I was like, no. If I'm going to play a game with a higher difficulty setting, I want the game to be actually kind of, like, punishing, but not, like, XP and money punishing. Like, punish me with, like, mechanics or tougher bosses or something. Don't do this. This is not the way. So I'm just gonna pick the easiest difficulty then. Why not?
Yeah.
it literally does nothing but gives me like a normal XP. So with that in mind, I also picked. There were two types of stories to play. You could either play the original story or the perfect story or something like that. I don't remember what it was called. And I was just like, well, what's the difference? And someone was like, well, if you pick the perfect one, you get all the added stuff into it. If you pick the original one, you don't get the added stuff into it. I was like, well, why would I? The game tells me that I should experience. Well, the game told me, like, we recommend you play this one first. And I was like, but why if this one's just going to have all the stuff in it?
But why?
No, I'm just going to play this one. Why not? I'll find out later what stuff I wasn't supposed to know about. Whatever. I don't want to play this that twice.
That's weird.
I went with the perfect story. Since I couldn't stream it, and I really wanted to kind of like talk about this game, I decided that for Patreon supporters, they get to see my, I guess I'm calling it a Let's blog. Okay. So it's basically going to have screenshots from me playing the game and basically my thoughts as I travel through the game and everything. But so I know that you had talked about this game in the past many times, Boston. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that I never listened to it, but I may have forgotten some stuff that you have said when you played it. Yeah. Because I'm old and I don't remember things.
Well, I don't think I've talked about it for years anyway, so.
Yeah, and the only thing I really remembered you talking about the game was, and I mean it, I don't remember anything else. It's the only thing I remember is that there was time travel, and that was it. Okay. There's time travel. Okay. That's the only thing I know about this game. So I went in and I was like, these characters are pretty anime, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. Immediately was like, this dude, Heiss or whatever, looks like if Igor became like an aristocrat and was just like, like kind of like a jerk. Yeah. I don't know how to put it. Like, he seems like a jerk, and he talks in nothing but like riddles and just confusing me, and I was just like, okay, I don't know why, but I don't like you. You immediately rubbed me the wrong way.
I don't trust you.
I don't trust you. You're giving me this. They're like, you're giving me this blank book, and you're like, oh, you'll need it eventually. Wink. And it's like, okay, what am I going to use it for? This blank book. Oh, you'll find out. And then it's like,
I forgot about that
I don't
book,
really
too.
want these comrades you're giving me. Oh, but you'll need them. Well, then what makes these comrades unique? Oh, you'll find out why they're unique. Wink. And it's like,
God, Igor, tell me something.
Just like, what is the point? You're sending me on a really hard mission with two characters. You're not going to explain any of their like abilities or powers to me, but you're all like, you're going to need them though. And it's like, okay, then just, all right, fine. Yeah. So that game, I like. So this version of the game is fully voiced.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's pretty alright. I actually like the voice work. I haven't come across anything that's too terrible. I think the only character that I've made fun of so far is looking at Roche or whatever. Dude in the big giant armor.
Oh yeah.
Who's like your best friend or something, childhood, I don't know, friend. He looks like he's wearing like a terrible wig on his head.
Oh really?
Yeah, I guess someone said that like all of the art in the game has been changed, and I think a lot of people commented that they don't like Roche's art, and
his new art is real bad.
Yeah, doesn't it look like he's got a wig on his head?
He totally. It looks a lot like Thor in the first Thor movie, where it's like, that's a wig.
That's not real. It looks terrible.
Someone put a real big wig on him. No, that's real. His art, his original art was really good. Because I don't. Who drew the original art? I don't remember. I'll look it up. But if I remember correctly, it was someone very famous. And it's like, oh, this art is really good, and that new art is real rough.
There's someone else that's like, I haven't met this other character, but someone else that someone was like, I hate how they made her look so anime and less like a tomboy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone was really thinking how this character looks way less of a tomboy, and it upset them.
Yeah, because that's one part that I liked in the first game. It might have been Rainy. I liked the character designs in the first one because they looked like actual real people. You know, in a lot of JRPGs we get people that look very anime or very cartoony.
Like this.
Yeah, but like I felt like Radiant Historia did a really good job, except for Igor, because he was very clearly like a caricature. Everyone else is like, oh yeah, that's like a dude with big armor and a sword. Okay, that seems cool.
Yeah. But I haven't actually looked at the original art for anything because I kind of wanted to not be spoiled by stuff.
Yeah.
But I have heard that like people were complaining about how I hate the new art, and I'm just like, oh, I have no idea what to compare it to. But that Roche art looks bad. Like
real
even from
not
someone
good.
the first one, it looks terrible.
Yikes.
So that game, I did reach the part of the game where you start doing the time trippy stuff, which was telegraphed so hard to you that it was going to happen. What with every character and everything telling you, like, there is going to be a lot of death incoming. It's just like, yeah.
If only we had more time.
If only
it's
we had more time.
My God.
Please stop.
Yeah, you're going to run into the part. It's sort of weird because Radiant Historia is a really good time travel game, but it's also a really bad one because some of the time travel puzzles are very much like, alright, let's rewind time and let's try that again, and you sort of have to find the right person to talk to at the right time to keep the story moving, and if you don't, you just rewind time again and like keep trying over and over, and that kind of sucks. It's not super prevalent, but it's rough.
Yeah, I totally get that. I haven't gotten too far in it, but the combat is unique, and I don't mind it. I like it. It's unique. And what else? Yeah, I'm okay with the characters. I like the Marco and Rainy character. Rainy's outfit is ridiculous. I have no idea how that's being held up by magic.
A full-on JRPG lady outfit where it's like, oh, that's not real.
You can't do that without some straps there. That's just impossible. I'm just gonna say.
Man.
You're just asking for a malfunction.
Right.
But like there have been like a ton of tropes. Oh, I did hit the part of the game where I laughed so hard I had to set the game down because I'm sure it wasn't meant to be something to laugh at. But they call what's happening to the world a desertification or something. Desertification.
Yeah, the desertification.
Whatever. Yeah, that thing. And I hit the part, I don't want to spoil it because it was such a moment for me, but I hit the part of the game where like you truly got to kind of understand how bad the desertification is. Yeah. Because I was thinking like, oh, it's turning all, like the land's losing all the water and stuff, and like there's, you know, what I think normal, sensible people would have been like, oh, oh, we're running out of water and plant life and stuff. And then something happens, and they're like, oh my god, and I just have this moment where I'm like, wait, that's what's happening? That is both funny and serious at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't want to spoil it, because it really is a moment that
it is a pretty big reveal, but it's sort of
like, oh, this is actually quite serious.
Yeah,
okay.
It's like, oh, that's what you meant. This is bad. This is not good for people.
Yeah. And of course the game immediately did something that I hate so much, and that showed me like a treasure chest that I couldn't reach. I was just like, oh god, are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
So, oh, right. Originally I did play this on the hardest difficulty, and then I tuned it back because I was like, oh, what's the point? But when I played it on the hardest difficulty, I tried to go one route because I assumed that based on what my character... Because your character gets a premonitions pretty early on, so I don't feel like that's a spoiler, but your character gets like this premonition of something happening, and I was like, I bet that happens if I go that route, so I'm going to go this route.
Oh, right.
Because I was just like, I bet that's what happened. So I went that route against my better judgment because I didn't want to. And when I went that route, you had to do this solo fight with just your character alone, and I got my butt handed to me because that character just... That fight seemed so impossible, and I couldn't imagine... Like, I don't know how someone would do that on the hardest difficulty. You'd have to grind for a long time, I assume.
Yeah, I feel like you would just have to grind that out.
Yeah. So, I don't want to spoil anything really about the... Oh, I did meet, I guess, the new character that you get from this version of the game. I don't know if she existed at all in the original, but she's like a scholarly mage lady who wears a white outfit, and
it doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, she speaks in kind of riddles as well. She calls you out on using or messing with some sort of magic or powers that you shouldn't be, or something like that. She tries to accuse you of you doing it, and your character tries to play dumb, and she's like, you can't play dumb with me. I know what you're doing. And your character continues to play dumb, and she gets kind of really upset with you with like, all right, you're gonna play dumb like that, but I know you did it. And then she just kind of saunters off. So I don't know. I think I've been told that she's new, and that she comes to join your party. But yeah, that's all I can really say about Radiant Historia. It's really, I'm enjoying it. It's pretty good. And let's see, what else have I played? Oh yeah, Secret of Mana.
You still playing the remake version?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was the original, because I thought you'd written the remake off.
No, I continue to play the remake. Because I listen, when you spend $80 on something,
sure,
you're gonna play it.
You're gonna see that thing through. You're gonna see that.
You're gonna see it.
That garbage pile till the end.
So I got to the part of the game where you recruit the dragon. I don't remember the name of the dragon. Flammy, maybe? I don't remember.
That sounds right.
So we go to recruit the dragon, and immediately, because I'm sitting with my husband when we're looking at this, and I immediately say, oh my god, did they just cut and paste Randy's hair onto this dragon and remove the bandana? Because that's what it looks like. And if that is not the truth that I'm saying right there, like, you can call me out on it, but it looks like they just cropped his hair and like dropped it right there on this dragon's head.
I just looked up a screenshot of it, and it really does. Like, there's I feel like there's a difference between an art style. Like, if you look at a lot of Toriyama's stuff across everything he's ever made, especially Chrono Trigger, everybody has very similar hairstyles. It's all that like chunky sort of stuff. This really does look like, well, just take it off this guy's head and put it around the dragon. All right, done. Ship
it
it.
looked the same size too. Like
Yeah.
everything was like scaled perfectly. The colors were unmatched. The directions of the hair was like the same, and I'm like, this looks like they just copied and pasted that hair. Like they didn't
Nice.
attempt to make a new sprite art for this thing at all. And I was like, and for a second, he was like, did Flammy even have hair in the original? Yes, Flammy did have hair in the original one, but this was, I was like, you guys didn't try, did you? It makes me upset.
I googled it, and there's a perfect picture with the main character on the back of the dragon. It's just like, that is
Hair
the exact
brothers.
same hair.
I laughed, but anyway, still playing that game. Still not a great experience, and I feel bad, but still gonna play it. I have no real comments because all I'm gonna do is just gripe about the things that I griped about previously, and that's not a fun podcast.
Yeah.
So that was just the only thing that I had to bring up. So the other thing I played was more Ultra Despair Girls.
Yeah.
And again, this is kind of a story-driven game, so I'm gonna tiptoe around the story beats. I got to the part of the game that I kind of have been really like wanting to understand something about, because one of the characters in the party had been behaving kind of strangely, and I'm just like, give me the reason why you're acting strange. Give me the answers, because it's driving me, like, you're building it up and you're building it up, and I need answers out of you.
Can't take it anymore.
Right? And I finally got the answers that I wanted.
Nice.
And that was good. I got to the second boss fight of the game. Still gonna say it. I do not like fighting in this game, and the camera control is bad still.
Yeah.
I keep telling myself just like cope through it, but sometimes that camera just wants to fight with me. And the other thing that I really dislike about the camera is it sometimes assumes that, like, if something's coming at me from a certain direction, that I want to know about it, and it will actually flip my character to face that direction.
Not what I want at all.
No. If I'm facing a bunch of Monokumas in front of me, I don't want to flip to face the Monokuma behind me.
Right.
Because I'm not prepared for that. I wasn't prepared to flip like that. But the game's like, oh, you wanted to be over here.
Look at this over here.
It caused me so much. I don't know. So, that was annoying. I think the blessing that this game does do is that it seems to know that you're going to hate some of these camera controls, and it gives you that character that if you press a button, she just is like invulnerable to everything and can just attack like crazy.
Oh, nice.
For a limited amount of time, of course. This isn't not like, you can't do this forever. But it's really nice that when things go awry and I'm just like, just let me just win this so that we can move on, because the game screwed me on something. It's good to press that button and just resolve everything without having to fuss. Because the game does grade you, and because at the end of every chapter you get like a grade, and you get like mono coins and a special skill or whatever if you do really well. So if you suck at the game, you lose points, and I assume you get a worser grade and subsequently lose out on getting like those coins and skills and etc. It's still Danganronpa. I really kind of want to know a lot about what's going on in the game, the answers of which I can only get by playing more.
Right.
Because there's a lot. I have so many questions. Like every time I come up with an answer for something, it's like, well, now I just got like, 5 more questions on top of these.
Right.
So I have faith that this is going to be a fun romp through, though, and second boss down, and that means there's only 3 more. I'm guessing 3 more bosses to go, because they let you know pretty early on how many people you need to defeat. So,
Right.
So I guess maybe I might be 2/5 of the way, maybe, unless this game goes into like overtime at the end or something. It probably does. It probably does.
Knowing the series, probably, yeah.
I'm probably like maybe 1/5 of the way, actually. Right. But other than that, I think that's all that I've been playing. What about you, Boston?
All I played was Ni no Kuni 2, and we already spent our time on that, so let's take a break.
Yay!
Yeah, Boston, I added a couple things to the list.
I saw, yeah. Thank you.
We don't have to talk about the one.
Oh no, we should.
On the list,
I added that to. I thought I added that to these show notes, but I must have added it to TVGP. Probably by accident.
Mm. Oh no, you have it there. I
was about to say number 5 is number 2.
Ugh.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Whew. Well, I was working on both show notes last night, so I was thinking, oh no, I got all turned around. All right, let me open up all this stuff. Okay. Okay. Do you guys need to take a break or anything?
Nope.
Nope, I'm good.
Alright, you ready to knock this out then?
Let's do it.
Ready?
Alright. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk RPG releases for April 2018. Ys Origin coming out for Xbox One on the 11th. I think this is the last platform for this to come out on. So, if you maybe been waiting for another remake of the first Ys, then you're ready to go on the Xbox One. I'm super excited, and this is way sooner than I thought. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life on PS4 on the 17th. Oh, I'm going to dive deep into this one, because every time they show it off, they're like, hey, by the way, you get to recruit all these people in your gang, and then they get to fight against other gangs and control territories. I'm like, oh
wow.
No. And they're like, hey,
pretty awesome.
How about that same system, but you're managing a baseball team? And I'm like, oh no! How about you play, what was it? Virtua Fighter 6 with full online support. And I'm like, oh no! Why? So, yeah. If you want to know what I'm going to talk about next month, it's probably just going to be just that.
I look forward to 10 years down the line when they re-release Yakuza 6, or they release like Yakuza 12, and they're like, you can play Yakuza 6 inside Yakuza
Right.
12 and play the Virtual Fighter 6 and get online.
And then me at 50 years old, oh no! South Park: The Fractured But Whole is coming out on the Switch for on the 24th. As long as that runs pretty well, that's probably a cool platform for that to come out on. Check that out. It'd be great if it would come in the first one too, because that game's really good too, but I have a feeling it won't. Yeah. Last but not least, Musum just added this to the list. BattleTech comes out on PC on the 24th.
Woo! I don't know how much of an RPG it will be. I know they've done their betas and alphas, but I mean, it's a turn-based tactics mech game where you can customize your mechs, and you have a mercenary troop that you're accepting jobs from and running jobs with. So
that sounds pretty good.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Alright, let's move on to news stories. We talked about Final Fantasy 15 a little bit in our first segment, and we're probably going to be talking about it for a lot longer, because they now announced it has 4 more DLC episodes coming in 2019, along with additional expansions to the multiplayer mode, Comrades.
So weird.
Yeah, like, it's
Why
super
are they
weird.
doing this?
It's super weird. I feel like after Final Fantasy 13, we're so used to... I think the expectation has been, oh, we'll just put on another game. And then with 15, they're like, yeah, but what if we made it into a platform? It's like, that's interesting and not at all what I was expecting.
Yeah, like, one of the DLCs, you're going to be I think you're the villain.
Yeah, episode 1 is
Yeah, the
Arden.
first one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I guess that's a spoiler. My bad. But
episode 3 is Noctis, and apparently the way they're couching it is the last episode will feature a, quote, grand alternate finale, end quote, for Final Fantasy 15. Until they announce a Season 3 of DLC, probably. So, but
I'm really curious what that grand alternate finale means. I mean...
Well, it kind of telegraphs based off of looking at episode 2. You can kind of see that it's
like a side story almost.
If you read episode 2, it's about I don't know. Should I even spoil what it said? Well, it's basic. It's about Luna Freya, and she's supposed to overturn the destiny for Noctis. So you can kind of guess what happens with
be a happy
episode
ending
3
for everyone.
It's gonna be the happy ending, happy Mass Effect 3 ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
There really isn't a happy Mass Effect 3.
I know.
No, that's true.
But that's what people used to comment about, like, everybody wants the happy ending for Mass Effect 3, and I was like,
nope, you're all dead. See you later. Next news story, and most importantly for Mr. Musum over here, Battle Chasers Night War is finally coming to the Switch on May 15th. I will clarify that is 2018.
Finally, I'm ready.
I liked their update where they're like, we were hoping it wasn't going to take this long, and it did. And we're sorry. But it's going to be $40, or if you backed out on Kickstarter, it will be part of your Kickstarter thing. Man, that's going to be a great platform to play it on. I
held out, man, because I kickstarted it. So
yeah,
it's like, that's how much I like the Switch, guys.
Well, I think it's good that you held out on it for so long, because they squashed all the annoying little bugs, and they patched a bunch of stuff in to help the progression work in your favor. Like, for example, some of the highest tier weapons, you could get some of them pretty early, and you'd have to just wait like 15 or 20 levels to use them. They removed that restriction. Like, as soon as you can farm them or like get the pieces early enough, you can just use them.
Nice.
So stuff like that is really great. So, man, I'm excited for you to play it, and we will talk about that in June, I guess, because it's probably going to come out after our May episode.
Yeah.
We also talked about Chrono Trigger in the first segment, and surprisingly, Square Enix has announced it's going to roll out a bunch of patches for the Steam version of Chrono Trigger, and the first of these patches will allow you to switch the game back to the original graphical style.
Good.
That's all we needed.
Good.
Pretty much everything else is fine. I'm sure a lot of people could even deal with the menus looking a little bit janky, as long as it's just not whatever that game looks like in the they call it the high resolution graphics, which is funny.
No.
So the only thing I hope is I hope they don't find some way to screw it up where it's like, look, if you switch to these original graphics, it's going to be like 240p, and it's going to look real bad on your monitor. I hope they don't do that. Square Enix. Stop screwing up old good games, guys. And last but not least here, Dragon Quest XI has been announced. It's coming out here in the West in September for PC and PS4. Two weird pieces of news. They're not bringing over the 3DS version, which is surprising and unsurprising at the same time.
I guess they're really done with the only thing that I can figure is that, I mean, they've said that, like, Dragon Quest doesn't do well in the West.
Yeah. But
they're going to not do it on the 3DS, which I feel, I mean, a lot of people have the 3DS. You'd hit, like, the biggest market there. So
yeah, the install base is huge. The only thing I could figure is it might have been too hard to put the text changes for the translation in the 3DS version, and maybe the juice wasn't worth the squeeze for how much work it was going to be.
Hasn't Dragon Quest primarily been a 3DS game for like the last 2 or 3 entries?
Yeah.
They've done nothing but like, 3DS
10
versions.
Was Wii U and 3DS? That was
that
the
one
MMO?
Never came over to America though.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
So was 9 the 3DS multiplayer one?
And no, 9 was actually the DS multiplayer one.
Yeah, that was the DS
wow.
one. And you could play it multiplayer. Yeah. And but 8 was the PS2 one.
Yes, but they put 8 on the 3DS. And
just recently, yeah.
Yeah, and 7 and
that's right.
6, maybe. No, definitely 5 was definitely on the
DS.
DS as
well. I played that on DS, yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing that's a little strange is people said, okay, cool, well, you guys are going to put it on Switch, right? And they're like, yeah, but, quote, much later, end quote.
Yeah, this is the one that blows my mind, but it because the producer himself said that the reason why it's going to be really late is that the Unreal Engine has not been updated for the Switch.
Yeah, that's a similar problem to why it took Battle Chasers Night War so long to come out on Switch. Was there were some Unity bugs that caused some problems on Switch as well, which is kind of surprising because the platform's been out for a really long time. It's hard to think that Dragon Quest XI would be like the first game to come out on Switch. I doubt it is, but I wonder if they're using something that's a little more cutting edge than some of the other games.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is, but that is the word on the streets as of a couple hours ago. yeah. This just broke as we were getting ready to record, but I gotta say, I know Dragon Quest doesn't do really well in the West. I'm super pumped for Dragon Quest XI. Like, I feel like we got Ni no Kuni 2 this year, and that was really good. And, you know, I feel like at the end of the year, I'll probably be hungry for another kind of traditional JRPG, and Dragon Quest XI is probably going to be really good. They're usually really I'm excited. Good. Yeah, I'm excited. The last one, 9, was super good to me, and 5 being one of my top 10 favorite RPGs. 5 is
so good. That's Hand of the Heavenly Bride, right?
Yes.
That one is so good.
That one's so good on every point. It's on my top 10, and may it be immortalized there.
Yeah. And 8 was really good too. That was one of Level 5's original hits, you know, developers of Ni no Kuni 2. They knocked it out of the park on that one.
Level 5 also did Rune Factory 4.
Really? And the Dark Cloud series. They've been prolific for a real long time. There's motorcycles out there.
They also did that. Wait a minute. They did that. They did that one with the 3DS with the Akira Toriyama artwork. What was it? The one with it was so cute. Fantasy Life? Is it something like that?
I think so. Up here.
Oh, I think it.
Oh yeah,
I think
what
it
was
is.
that called? They did the Yokai series, which unfortunately didn't really do anything. They did the Layton games. Fantasy Life, yep.
Yokai's more amazing over in Japan land. They like it more over there.
Yeah. Oh, they've also done Inazuma 11. Wow. Boy, they've done a lot of stuff.
They've been working hard.
Jeez. Good job, Level 5. Alright, well, that's our episode for this month. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. It gives me, like, crazy lighting. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. All the links to all the stuff are on the right-hand side of the page. And become a patron, patreon.com/E1M1 for all the cool behind-the-scenes stuff. Musim, where can we find you?
You can listen to my other podcast at thecarouselpodcast.com and buy my music at musim.bandcamp.com, also on Apple and Spotify.
And Mina, how about you?
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch under Mina KO Rocket. And Boston?
You can find this show and all the other E1M1 shows at e1m1.com. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And thank you, Musim and Mina, for joining me on this episode yet again.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you.
And our adventure continues next month. Bye. Bye. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching the live stream or watching the video. We really appreciate it. I can't get my lighting in here right. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.